We begin this afternoon, though, with an alarming story. I need you to stop what you're doing and listen to this because it has to do with gun violence and women. Did you know the United States is the most dangerous country for women among high-income nations? And can you believe an astounding 92% of all women killed with guns were from the U.S.? Women in the U.S. are 28 times more likely to die by firearm homicide than women in peer nations. And finally, 2 in 5 female firearm homicide victims were killed by a current or former intimate partner. And we are joined by the U.S. Attorney for the Northern District, Clay Joyner. Clay, 2 weeks ago, Merrick Garland sounded the alarm about domestic violence, guns, and women. What is it that you all are now tasked to do?
So what we're doing in the Northern District of Mississippi, Greenville, Mississippi is already a Project Safe Neighborhood site for us, which means we've got expanded efforts in that area. And so we're partnering with local community leaders, stakeholders, the police department, the district attorney's office. And what we're trying to do is to keep guns out of the hands of those who have been convicted of domestic violence offenses. Because as you just pointed out, the statistics are pretty staggering, really, when you think about it, that almost 50% of female homicide victims are murdered by someone who is an intimate partner of theirs at one point. And essentially, the other thing that we're finding is those that drive violence in the community generally, that is, those that are committing violent crimes, a disproportionate number of those individuals are people who have been convicted of domestic violence as well. And so the goal is ultimately we're partnering with ATF as well, and we are attempting to keep guns out of those people's hands to the extent possible. All
right, we'll get to our Second Amendment real quick. But first, I know this is a pilot program in Greenville. Do you hope to include the rest of the Northern District in it?
Absolutely. I mean, we're going to kind of see what works and what doesn't in Greenville, and we are going to take this throughout the district. That's absolutely the plan. Yes.
Now, when it comes to the Second Amendment, of course, you have a lot of people who are like, hey, the government is now trying to take away our guns. What would you tell them?
Well, I can tell you this, if you're asking me what folks who are kind of Second Amendment folks think, well, I am one, so I can, I guess, tell you at least what some of us think. And that is, you're not taking someone's gun away based on simply an accusation of this nature. What you're doing is, after a conviction, that is, after there's been a trial, after there's been a finding of fact by a court, at that point, when an order is entered saying that this person is guilty of a crime involving violence on a domestic partner, at that point, that's when we're going to seek to have that person not have a gun in their hands. Moving on.
Okay. Now, of course, when it comes to domestic violence issues and concerns, I know the state actually implemented a stronger law a couple of years ago against the fact that if a woman is afraid, she doesn't want to be able to tell law enforcement or go through with charges because they're afraid of their partner. What would you tell that person right now if they're in a situation like that?
So anybody that's in a situation where they're in immediate danger, of course, call 911 is the first thing. But that's why we're partnering with community stakeholders, et cetera, because women in this situation have to have somewhere they can go to. Now, again, if there's immediate danger, law enforcement, the law enforcement that's the immediate closest law enforcement to them, which is going to be state and locals, they need to call them first. And then, after that, appropriate victim services can be brought in to help.
Okay. All right then, Clay. Anything else you want to say before we let you go?
No, thank you. I appreciate it. I appreciate the time here for us to make people aware of this program.
Okay, great. Thank you so much.
Thank you.